Hello, welcome and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to part 2 of the FJRT finale episode. Today we're going to see who wins in the second half of the round of 8. So, without me having a really big and complicated intro, let's go ahead and zoom on in here and see what we've got for our first section of the next section of the finale. We will be seeing a couple planes that, well, I'm particularly fond of anyway. So, I can't wait to see how these are going to be going, and I certainly hope you won't either. In any case, let's go ahead and take a look at Team A and Team B. So, over here on Team B this time, again on the side that I would normally call A Team, is the AC Liberator F05X. A model. This is sent in by the illustrious Maximus Light, my teammate on Team Masters in the last season of Fighter Jet Showdown. And the Liberator is, well, I love this airplane. It was the first thing that I cut my teeth beating the crap out of. Going 50-50 on it, at least. So, that made me feel pretty good. We can see that the Liberator here has gone through a little bit of an overhaul. Minor edits to the airframe, which were allowed as per the change in the rules, and by taking a close look, we can see that these fantastic Product 30 engines have actually been tweak-scaled up just a little bit to provide more power, more oomph, and a lot more awesomeness condensed into that frame. We're gonna have to stay tuned to see how well that pays out. As far as special weapons go, we have the new upgraded special weapon turret, the M2 turreted heavy machine gun, which fires 30mm rounds, much more powerful than the 50 cals that they had before, meaning this turret can actually deal some damage. So we are going to be seeing how that does. This was originally used on the Leviathan UAVs, which were taken down largely due to, well, the Liberator kicking some butt and hanging on to the last possible second. Let's see if that luck manages to hold out for it here. As far as other missiles, we have the standard AIM-9X Sidewinders and the PL-10 Chinese missiles, which are, well, they're notorious. Both of these missiles are actually notorious for team killing, but let's hope that that doesn't run into it. As far as the XM variant, same sort of setup with a few different missiles. Here we can see that it's actually got AIM-120 missiles, complementing the large multi-purpose burst missiles, again, MPBMs, to add even more oomph. Between the two of these things, it should be, well, I'm expecting to see a lot of death. These are two very tough aircraft, and, well, they've managed to survive all the way here. In any case, let's go ahead and hop on over to A Team, which for some reason is called Horizon. Not sure what that's about. Still pretty cool. Let's go ahead and take a look. So, starting off over here on Team B, we have the AAEX-49Y series of the Electron, which, again, is sent in by Geostorm, and his partner is over there. So, looks like he's got a bit of a JADO, or RADO, as it seems, system with some oxidizers, some vector liquid fuel engines, probably going to get that sucker into the air pretty quickly. As far as guns, it looks like it has a single 30mm gun there that I can't quite highlight because of the hitboxes. However, that's probably the dual 30mm and two 20mm Vulcan turrets. It's got the maximum amount of guns it can have. That's for full firepower, as well as, well, just bullet coverage. And then, to make it even more deadly, in the back here, it's got that M2 turreted heavy machine gun, and two Banshee missiles, which is the upper limit of what is allowed, as well as some Brimstone missiles. Not normally air-to-air missiles, those ones, although they can potentially work for that. They also supposedly have like an EMP or some sort of interesting thing tied to them, so if those hit ya, you're gonna have a bad day. We also have the R-77 air-to-air missiles, which I'm assuming are the replacements for the more Banshees that they may have had at one point in time, and these big ol' PL-10s. So this Electron version will be rather, well, I don't know how we're going to see. And this is actually pretty interesting back here. It's got 2 Saturn engines, but in addition to that, 2 tweak-scaled WS-10 engines. So we have a mix of NMB engines and the B9 Saturns. So that'll be, I wonder how that's going to play out. It'll be pretty cool to see. Anyway, over here is the Parallax, which they've run it backwards as Zalarap or something. K6.3. Looks pretty cool, honestly. It's got these big ol' liquid fuel tanks, I'm assuming, that it's probably using for a little bit of extra liquid fuel, probably for the radar system there, which we can see tucked in underneath. Alternatively, it's to give it more, well, without having to add too much extra fuel onto the body of the aircraft itself. Those could just be external fuel tanks, meant to try and add a little more to there. We have, looks like a RVVAEPD missile, which I think is a long-range cruise missile of some kind. Nice that we're seeing some missiles we haven't actually seen before. PL-10 missile there, Sidewinder there, another Sidewinder, mostly standard Sidewinders from this group here. And of course, they've got a single Banshee for the memes and a Brimstone. So these aircraft have quite a wide array of weapon coverage, at least as far as missile typing. They've got the 2 BK-27 Mausers in the front, as is the standard these days in the competition. And they've also gone with the turreted heavy machine gun, which again can actually deal damage compared to the 50 cal, which was more to get the pilots to try and evade. And this one is only powered rather, by 2 afterburning Saturns. So, not quite as much thrust, but this does appear to be a lighter aircraft overall. With that radar system, though, I'm pretty sure it's going to get into the air pretty easily. So, now that we've seen both of our teams, let's get back to the Watchtower and Kaz Kerman and see how they perform. So, here we are for round 1 between these fighters, and before I hit the start button, let it be known that Gio told me not to start the engines on his aircraft, probably because of the way that he set up that radar system. So, if he doesn't get going very quickly, that's probably why. I'm gonna go ahead and hit start, and hopefully we'll see these things not explode. And 3, 2, 1, start! Alright, that was certainly interesting, in a word. I'm sure I've left a lot of debris down there. I'm really hoping that wasn't just some kind of a gimmick to basically get themselves to carry more missiles. Because that's playing dirty, and I do not approve of that. If so, that seemed to be the most unstable rocket-assisted takeoff thing I've ever seen. Holy guacamole! Look at this! Liberators just climbing high into the sky, trying to use that maximum altitude limit to their benefit. Those NMB engines can actually function at higher altitudes than the engines on the other team. They were designed like that with my tweaks to give a little bit of different capability to them. The only aircraft that arguably would be able to do fairly well in that situation might be the Electron. Either way, we've got aircraft going, and we have missiles being launched. What the heck are those? AIM-120Ds being launched backwards, and they're not going to hit anything. They're going to hit the ground, if anything. That's not going to get them any points. And we've got Banshee missiles flying already from the second FJRT team, and there they are, floating, as Banshees have basically always done. except for this one, which is moving very slowly across the field. We have an MPBM in the air. Very slow, very deadly, very powerful missiles. Is it heading for that Banshee? No, it's going to zoom on by. This missile phase is quite scary. PL-10 being launched, and looks like another PL-10 being launched from the XA variant. And whoop! Missile zipping on by. I think that might have been an MPBM. Kind of hard to tell, at least from the angle I'm at. Got missiles just going everywhere. All right, we're gonna get. Uh-oh, we've got lag. Something exploded. Oh, and the Electron gets taken out by something. Either way, this is now a 2-on-1. Let's go ahead and get behind the Zalarak for the Parallax. See how it does now that it's basically, oh, there it goes, launching those leftover fuel tanks now that they've been used. It's not within turret range. More missiles zipping by. More missiles still in the air. Those Brimstone missiles are slow. They're good. They're almost Banshee-like in what they can do. The XM Liberator doing its best there, but I don't think the XM is the one with the turret. Oh boy. We can see the turreted machine gun is trying to turn, but they are still limited by the 120-degree rear arc of these aircraft. That XM is not having a good day right there. Doing its best to maneuver and stay around, but the Parallax is giving it some hell. Luckily, this aircraft is fairly sturdy and fast. I don't know what its wingman is doing, though. What is its wingman doing? Oh, its wingman has no engines! That's not good. That's the one with the defensive turret at that. This is bad. This is looking very bad for the Liberator pair in round 1. This Liberator is going to have to shake the guy on his tail. Those enemy engines are tough and can take a beating when it comes to damage. You can see they're just continuing to get lit up, but it's only going to take a few before that poor aircraft can't be flying anymore. Getting dangerously close to the ground. It has lost one missile. The other Liberator. Oh no! Smash! That's rough. Well, that other Liberator is still technically up and in the game. Go ahead and slip into standard mode here so we can try and see coming in. That turret trying to do what it can. Both of these aircraft have turrets. They're both firing at each other. Problem, of course, being the Liberator can't really move. It's basically a floating, well, platform. More missiles coming in. Not sure it's going to track particularly well. Both of them just barely missing the wounded Liberator. Jeez, even without engines, these things are tough. Unwilling to give up the fight. Weapon selected. Hello there. More missiles coming in. Aim 9. Oh, so hot it could. Ooh, and the Liberator is down. Still has weapons, in theory, able to fight. But, yeah, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to call that there. For this particular round, there's nothing I can really do about that. It's got the gun, but the gun isn't gonna launch when the target's that far away. And, Parallax really showing how sleek this thing is. Quite strong, too. Look at that maneuver. Dang. Well, what would you expect when the legendary Stoffel Kerman returns to pilot this aircraft? In any case, let's go ahead and get into round 2 for these fighters. And we're back for round 2 between these fighters. I honestly don't know how I feel about those Rado systems. At least on the Electron there. Watch, here they go. Goes off, immediately drops. What even is the point of that? It doesn't do anything other than add extra weight. Look, the rockets are still going. It does nothing but add extra weight. I don't know how I feel about that, to be perfectly honest with all of you. Not really sure how I feel about that. I might have to see if its weight changes it significantly in a spaceplane hangar or something. That doesn't sit well with me if all they've done is use it to try and add more weight to their aircraft before immediately dumping them. A short hop off of the ground like that doesn't provide anything. And the competition is starting once again. Looks like we got an AIM-120 and an MPBM launching high, getting a lot of delay time. Have a cruise missile heading off into the stratosphere right now. And we have a barrage of long-distance missiles now coming in. AIM-120D zipping in from long range, moving quite quickly, and misses. Still serves its purpose, though. Where the heck is that cruise missile? It's still way up there. Going way off into the stratosphere. AIM-9X and MPBM coming in. We have the Banshees starting to finally close in after a bit of an eternity. PL-10 getting fired. The other team is now on the ropes. Let's go ahead and get on in here. Watch what's going on. Looks like we've got an AIM-120D coming in. More distraction. Looks like it's headed for the Parallax. Coming in at high speed. Whoa! And we have an AIM-120 hit on the Parallax. 2 PL-10s being launched in retaliation at the XM Liberator. More missiles being launched. Look at this. Just missile after missile. That poor Liberator is just gonna have to get some Macross music going on. And the other Liberator gets taken out by something. Not sure what that was. Probably a missile. The XA Liberator is the only one that's left. This is the one that's better at dogfighting. It's got good tone on whatever it's got. PL-10 launching. AIM-9X looking for a target now. Gets into gun range, and we've got lag. Something blew up. Jeez Louise! Flies through the Electron's death cloud. Immediately moves into the Parallax. Parallax doesn't... I don't see any engine trails on the Parallax. I don't think it's got any weapon. Yeah, it's got no engine. It's now floating. And the Liberator coming in and opening up a whole bunch of justice. The weapon group called Hello There. And look at this. Liberator's still got PL-10 missiles. Not that I think they're going to track particularly well. Especially not with an almost non-existent heat signature. But bless them, they're trying.
Hello there.
And there goes PL-10 coming in, just hardly tracking. And that lag tells me that the Parallax is having a very bad day. Liberator comes in, turns it into, well, confetti and death. Just check. Yep, the only thing that survived is the cockpit. Trying its best to stay upright. The legendary Stoffel Kerman. Or at least, yes, Stoffel Kerman. all the way from Jimmy's install to mine. Well, I guess that means we're going on to round 3 between these. First round 3 of the finale. And we're back for round 3 between these fighters. You might notice a distinct lack of radar systems for both of these aircraft. That's because after looking at them in the space plane hangar, I determined they served no real use other than to add additional weight and therefore allow them extra projectiles. Something I distinctly remember calling out as against the rules and the spirit of the tournament earlier on. So, as a result of that, I am stripping the first win that these aircraft got against the Liberators, and as a result, the Liberators are currently in the lead with 1 win. So, let's go ahead and get these going. See how how they're able to perform now. Sucks that we're seeing this kind of stuff in the finals, and nothing else, but hey, I mean, I guess it's understandable. People are trying to win. Still, though, ultimately I am the one who makes the decisions on these things. It's unfortunate I didn't catch that stuff in the airplane hangar, space plane hangar. To me, it seemed fairly legit, but seeing them in action really changed my mind on that. It's not a good idea to try and pull one over on old Kaz. Either way, the aircraft are continuing to get into position. As far as removing ordnance from the other 2 fighters, I removed anything that was particularly redundant and kept more of their unique choices intact, which means, yes, they still have their Banshees and a few other things, MTBM heading into the ground, but yes, they have their weird, I don't know what this is, the cruise missile, they've got their Banshees. I think the Electron has its Brimstones. Either way, I tried to keep most of their unique weapon choices intact while stripping off things like A9s or PL10s and things like that where possible to try and keep things interesting for them, so they still had a fairly unique weapon loadout. AIM-9Xs and PL10s and stuff being launched at the Banshees, actually, I think. Anti-missile missiles are always good if you can get them on. PL-10's now coming in. Let's go ahead and take a look over here at the Electron. It's trying to load up with a PL-10, get on the back of the Liberators. Liberator launching an AIM-9X that's looks to be tracking fairly well. Oh, and we have a missile-on-missile collision. Those anti-missile missiles are proving to be quite good. However, there is a swarm of missiles coming in toward that Liberator, and the Liberator is taken out. That is rough. Rough stuff. Missile being launched from the Liberator. Not seeing any more missiles on this thing. Let's go ahead and get to the solo Liberator. It's still got a PL-10. Something hit something. That missile looks like it was tracking fairly well. Zooms up and hits the Electron. Electron is no more. We have the Parallax versus the Liberator right now. Again, if the Liberator wins this, it's basically going to go on because of the cheekiness of the other stuff. I know that's rough, and I'm sorry it has to be that way, but I don't take kindly to people trying to manipulate the rules in their favor. It was something I already called out. Now, the unfortunate thing is that this Liberator has lost its turret, which means it's only got its standard guns. That turret is going to give it a lot of trouble, if only because it keeps things, avoiding and moving. And we have a missile being launched from the Parallax and a lot of lag. I think that's the remaining chunk of aircraft hitting the ground there. I don't know what else it could be. Sure enough, missile coming in, zipping by, chasing after flares. Another missile coming in, again zipping by and missing. How many missiles does the Parallax have left? Well, none now. Now it's just guns on guns. Well, guns on turret. Anyway. Liberator showing its impressive turning capabilities there. Zooming in. How are they gonna do? Enemy aircraft. Pull up there, Liberator friend. Parallax looks like it's getting... Oh, Parallax is on the tail, chasing it as it climbs. Again, let's go into cockpit mode. Ooh, at the last possible second, they go into a joust. Turret doing its best to cover. Parallax doing what it can to try and get in. Liberator getting dangerously close to the terrain there. Looks like it finally hit its terrain limit and is pulling up. Parallax still behind, doing its damnedest to keep up. It's sticking to the tail of the Liberator here. It is really sticking to it. Oh no, we've got some good hits. How's that Liberator looking after that? Still has both of its engines. Zooming in. Just a few control surfaces on the end have been taken out, but the Liberator is tougher than that. Does not need them. Lines up. Bit of a joust. Now the Liberator's trying to turn onto the tail of the Parallax. Both aircraft trying to get on one another here. We know the Liberator is quite good in a dogfight, but the fact that that turret is there, giving it all kinds of problems. You can see it just sticking to the tail of that fighter, zipping around. I'm gonna have to zoom out to be able to see what the heck's going on. Liberator dancing between those shells. More stuff being taken off of the Liberator. This is an intense dogfight. That looked like a really nasty hit. The Liberator is still kicking, but it's gone on engines. That is 100% not a good thing. And those 30 mils are going to take out what's left of that Liberator. Based on that, the craft are tied 1-1, which means we're heading into the real round 3 to determine who goes on to continue fighting. Here we are for the real round 3 between these aircraft. Let's go ahead and get them into the sky. So far, these two aircraft have proven to be, well, rather tough nuts to crack, at least as far as the Horizon team over there. Liberator is very standard. Horizon team using, well, at first, dirty tricks to try and get it in there, and now they're using pretty gimmicky missiles, which are fairly strong if you don't have a way to counter them. At least as far as, like, anti-missile missiles and the like. Not always the easiest thing to get to work. I should know, I've tested things with anti-missile missiles. In fact, at one point I even had my own aircraft flying against the Killer Key, which we saw in the last section, and it was able to beat it simply by having enough missiles to throw and blow up its missiles. And then it... kind of an interesting thing, all said and done. Either way, we have these craft out and about. Again, Banshee's being launched, AIM-120D going toward the ground, another one launching up into the sky. One hitting the ground, the other one going up over the top. Looks like it's tracking on that weird, I don't know, again, I don't know what that is. Got a cruise missile again, probably, like I said. But MPBM trailing after the AIM-120. AIM-120 misses barely. And we have an AIM-9X coming in. Not sure what it's tracking on. Oh, it looked like it tried to take out that Banshee missile. AIM-9X is trying to chase down the Banshees as best they can, it looks like. BL-10's coming in over the top too. Let's go ahead and get to the Parallax. Go ahead and watch from its point of view again. It's doing what it can. There's some lag. I think that means one of the... Yes! And the Electron taken out by a missile. Nothing else that could have been. Good job, Parallax, I guess. Great job, buddy. Brimstone missiles. Whoa! Missile speeding in from the Liberators. Parallax not looking so hot, but it still has missiles left. Could still deal some damage. All it's going to take is one missile impact, and the Liberators are going to have a bad day. But Liberator now on the tail of the Parallax, launching that final missile. Looks like it's not tracking on anything. Brimstone's still in the air, floating a lot like Banshees, actually. These are actually supposed to be anti-ground missiles they're using for aircraft. Eventually those Brimstones are going to run out of, well, there goes one. Just popped right there. It's not over till it's over, and the Parallax is not ready to give up just yet. It's now effectively a 2-on-1. Though that could change with any moment. Oh, man, not only that, it's lost its turret. Well, we saw how deadly that could be for these aircraft in this situation. I don't know if the other Liberator still has its turret. I think that's the A model that's got the turret. It is. A model still has its guns. But you can hear that radar warning receiver going off, beeping in the background. It's still trying to avoid missiles. And it looks like the Brimstones are finally starting to give up. No more radar warning receiver going off. This Parallax now, well, the Parallax on the tail of that Liberator. Even with one engine. But unlike last time, the roles have been reversed, and this Liberator still has its wingman, which is attempting to get shots. You can hear it flying overhead. Well, at least I can. I've got some awesome headphones. Oh, and it changes targets to the other one. You can hear shots. Those wing surfaces, though, are very tough. Despite being out there, they've got a lot of HP. Those 30 millimeters are going to have some issues there, especially if they manage to clip the Saturn. The Saturn's got, like, no HP compared to the rest of the aircraft. If those get down, well, it seems to be doing quite well with just the one Saturn, all things considered. Parallax trying to figure out which Liberator to go after. Liberators really are beautiful aircraft. They are showing their age, though, in this new meta, although the fact that this old aircraft has managed to get a little bit of new life and come in and get this far is pretty impressive. I wouldn't be surprised if Max decides to fully retire the aircraft after all this. It's definitely proved itself, pushed the airframe about as far as it can go. But who knows, maybe it can go just a little further and win the tournament. Parallax doing its best to avoid fire from the twin Liberators. Got plenty of fuel left on the Parallax there. Let's go ahead and slip to one of the Liberators, see what it's looking like on fuel. Oh yeah, there's no similarities between these two aircraft. Parallax is going to die by fuel long before the Liberators do, which means the ball at this point is in the Liberator's court to drop. There have been big upsets before, but in this case, I don't really know. With only one engine, and 2 aircraft. Uh-oh, wait, both those craft? Is the parallax gonna pull up, or is it also gonna hit? Oh! And it does, it hits, and it's gone. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's pretty clear. Not sure what happened there. Maybe they got into a race to see who could die first at the very end. Well, either way, the AC Liberator will be going on to the round of 4. Good luck, old chap. So here we are, the final matchup for the round of 8, and we're going for the Episode 7 and Episode 8 winners. We have the AFN Mark II here, sent in by our good friend Ace Verco, and the If This Plane Gets Into the Air, It Dies, sent in by Cyrus Plays. This is his latest upgrade to the Mogara, which, well, it proved itself to be fairly beefy and a fairly decent design. I wish the guy would stop making fun of himself, because his planes have gotten pretty far. There's no denying that. Be better to yourself, Cyrus. I think you've earned it by now. Either way, let's go ahead and take a look at Team A here. Wow, Kaz, what a great cut that was. It's like you didn't move. Yes, it's because it's easier to record and put things together that way. Don't question me, I am your lord and master. Anyway, let's take a look at the AFN. Rocking some pretty good... I like this kind of stacked missile loadout here. Going for some hefty, nasty missiles. Looks like it's got a long-range heat seeker on the PL-10 would be my... Yes, definitely long-range on the PL-10s there. And the AIM-9s. Just kind of chilling. To kind of round things out. And here's where the real fun gets in. Just as before, the AFN is rocking that GAU. That GAU 8, one of the most ridiculously fast-firing weapons in the competition. Yes, you might be able to get 2 BK-27 Mausers out there, but they're really, really accurate, and if the AI is having a bad day, it's just gonna, well, it's just gonna fly on through. But the fact that the GAU is a little bit inaccurate and has over twice the firing rate of the Mauser means it's still a very, very deadly weapon. However, the special weapon that this airplane is carrying is the M2 turreted machine gun, which we've already seen can, in fact, be fairly deadly. The only thing that I found that's only marginally questionable is the amount of clipping going on here for the engines. Yeah, I mean, it's right on the level, if anything. I might normally say probably not, but it's not to any kind of significant excess. So I suppose I can let it slide. It's not nearly as bad as the previous dogfighting team. So, with that, let's go ahead and take a look at Cyrus's aircraft on Team B. So, once again, this is the newest version of the Mogara sent in by Cyrus Plays. Poor guy seemed not to get the memo. Still has the 50 cal turret on here. And he's rocking some quams along with that. Not really something he can get away with, although, to be fair, he's only got a single Mauser BK-27. I don't know how I feel about that, Cyrus. I don't know why I didn't see that before. I am blind. Well, I suppose I can let it slide because this will do no damage whatsoever. But yeah, guns don't kill people, people do. Alright. So, yeah, let's... I don't know. I suppose I'll give it to him. It's not going to deal any damage, it'll just be kind of annoying. So, the real interesting things are going to be seeing how the quams do. Those new special, highly maneuverable radar-guided missiles with quite the range on them. Well, I'll give it to you, Cyrus. We'll see how it goes. Can I actually disable that? Actually, I could. You know, yeah, we're gonna disable it. It shouldn't technically engage anything there now, I believe. I think it's off. I'll have to do that for the other one as well. Sorry, Cyrus, but it's not my fault. You weren't paying attention to the rules as well as you should have, probably. Hopefully that gun won't fire. If it does, I'll have to... I don't know what I'll have to do. I'll probably have to redeploy. Either way, let's go ahead and get these aircraft into the air and see what they are capable of doing to one another. Ah, the gorgeous sound of NMB-powered aircraft, which is nothing unless they're powered on, which is super fun. I'm sorry to everybody that I'm being so sticklery for the rules this time around, but this is the finale, and I want to make sure that we get some good fights in here, and that means fair. So, with the competition distance set to 16,000 meters, we are off. Both of these aircraft are quite tanky. They proved that in the boss fight. Both of them very beefy, using very beefy parts, able to take quite a lot of damage. Remains to be seen how the AFN is going to hold out against the Mogara. The Mogara does have cheesier missiles, what with the Banshees and that sort of thing. Quams are pretty nasty, but I don't know. I haven't ever seen them work particularly well at extreme range. It's a bit of a toss-up. They're far more maneuverable than MPBMs, almost like radar-guided sidewinders in what they can do. Quite an interesting missile, all things said and done. Ideally, it would be nice if it would loop around and try and retarget its target. Maybe fire and forget sort of missiles. Might have to look into that during the interim between Season 1 and Season 2. Wait, did I say Season 2? Yes! I would like to do a Season 2 at some point between these things. After all, people seem to have become quite fond of FJRT, and I can't say I blame them. In any case, the AFN's skirting the line right at their altitude, and the long-range Banshees being fired from the Mogaras. Not actually seeing much of anything being launched from the AFNs, so that's not too surprising. They probably have minimum launch distances that are different, and they need to get close before their weapons can detect the enemy aircraft. And at last, we have some PL-10s, which I'm pretty sure those are PL-10s. Made in China is what they're called. And they're coming in. And getting closer. Oh, we got some friendly fire there from the AFNs. And one of the Mogaras gets hit too. This is now turned into... the AFNs are fighting each other. Ace, what the hell, man? Apparently, there can be only one. And the Mogara is doing its best to avoid. Not like it's doing a very good job. That's getting close. No! I don't know if that was a hit or not. It appears like it was. And there's a something chasing that. I can't get a lock on what it is. Actually, that might have been a Quam. Alright, so the turret does look like it's active. I don't know if it'll actually... It is firing, despite the fact that I know I turned it off. And it shouldn't be engaging anything. The game apparently does not like that. Fires its Quam. Quam going off into that direction. It's like it's trying to track. Trying and failing. Not sure what it's doing there. Oh! Maybe it is trying to... It is! is wrapping back around and is trying to come after the... is actually trying to go after the AFN. That Quam is still going. That is the first time I've seen a Quam do that. It's designed to do that, but that's literally the first time I've seen it happen. It's still tracking. A little shaky, and it finally seems to lose its time. Goes out. That was pretty cool, gotta say. Looks like, got some debris from this aircraft here. I can't turn off that 50 cal. Admittedly, it has axed its gun down to 1, so, I mean, I guess I can allow it. I'm not going to cause any big problems. At least I don't think it's going to cause any significant problems, unless the AFN decides to get intimately acquainted with the ground or something. But the AFN seems not to be interested in doing that. Oh, and that gal putting in some hurt. There go the countermeasures, there goes one of the tail, and there goes the rest of the plane. And that is why the gal is as powerful as it is, and you only get one. Apparently that AFN decided it really didn't want to have its friend on its team and decided to blow it up. Alright then. But it won, so I guess it knows what it's doing. Either way, let's get into round 2 and see how this plays out. And here we are for round 2 between these aircraft. Let's get them into the sky. Very interesting tactic there. Spitting so many missiles out that you manage to blow up your teammate and then win. Obviously, they were trying to confuse their enemy into thinking that they had some mentally challenged folk behind the seat, or behind the controls. AFN's zipping on out. I really got to keep an eye on those two. If they start doing that again, I'm going to feel bad for Ace. Oh well. Whee! Zipping by the camera. We'll zip on over here, see if we can get a peek at the Mogaras. And the Mogaras look quite sleek, honestly. Look at that. Pretty nice aircraft, if I do say so myself. Maybe not as sleek as some of the other ones, but, you know, they look pretty good. They look real enough. They look kind of F-18-ish. Which is a nice look. The F-18's a pretty good-looking airplane. Either way, they're getting into distance as they did before. And the competition has started once again. Mogara is getting their Banshee missiles off first while they turn to get in. Immediately, the AFNs over here in the far corner are dropping their chaff and flares. At this far range, you have a much larger chance to make use of your maybe your radar-guided missiles. AFNs again flying incredibly close to each other. I wonder if that has to do with like AI squadron settings or something. I'm not really sure, but it's pretty cool. And we have PL-10 getting launched. That's literally the only thing it could be. And Mogara here having some fun next to its buddy. Where the hell did that missile go? Looks like there are some missiles. Oh, and a missile comes in, hitting that Mogara. Bad news bears for that Mogara. It's now confetti. And Banshee's still tracking on something over there. Can't see the missiles coming in. Banshee's still tracking on that AFN. I am very confused here. Those Banshees are still streaking in on that AFN over here. That one's on the distance. This AFN not having the best of days. It's missing quite a chunk. And the two Banshees actually collided with each other. Interesting. I've only ever seen that once during a testing fight in that. Oh, and of course, as soon as I look away, poor Mogara gets hit. And that Adder missile just chasing after that AFN. Adder's still there. It is closing in. Woo! That had a good proximity sensor on it. Yikes. That could have done some damage. Either way, I think it's fairly safe to say that Mogara has, well, seen its last round of fights. Cyrus, don't feel bad, man. You made it all the way to the finale. Like, how many people have submitted and can honestly say that they did that? Like, congrats, dude. You really need to be easier on yourself. Yes, your plane seems to be in dire straits, but you know, you made it to the boss fight. You made it through there pretty well. You know, going up against the drones. Like, you got talent, man. Really, you do. Either way, technically, I am going to call it there because the only weapon it has that is arguably legal and capable is that VK-27, which it's not going to really be able to do anything with, especially since it's lost all real vertical control to get a turn going. And the turret really shouldn't be attacking anything. So, I'm going to call it right there. So, in any case, I have been Kaz. Stay tuned for the round of 4, the semifinals and finals of the finale. Coming up soon. Stay tuned, and until next time, I've been Kaz, and happy building.